bulletin boards, and the Township website.
Thank you. At this time, everyone, please silence your cell phones or turn them off. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Here.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Glad to be here.
Vice President DeYoung.
Here.
President Momolo.
Present.
Thank you.
I'd like to call up Cub Scout Pack 38 to lead us off at a Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone, please rise. In the corner.
Scout attention, parent staff attention. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scouts at ease.
Moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you, Pack 38. Great job.
Nice job.
Uh, 3C, approve reports of municipal officers. Clerk, please accept and file the reports.
Thank you.
Approved minutes of March 17th, 2015 minutes. A motion and a second.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Moore, second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Roll call.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Abstain.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our presentations will be the students of the month. Mayor and Susan, Councilwoman Lydecker, please join me up front.
Can we ask Mr. Philippon to please come up, please? Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Guys, he's not the one getting the receipt.
No, okay.
But thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening for our March Student of the Month recipient for their Certificate of Achievements. These students have worked hard throughout the year and each have an excellent track record for their studies, as well as their non-academic activities. Each student is outstanding in his or her own right, and it is only appropriate that we recognize their dedication to education. These students show strength in character and the willingness to do what it takes to succeed. They are our shining examples of what our school systems can produce when we all work together as a team. To our parents, principals, and teachers, I thank you for your unfailing efforts in nurturing our young leaders for the next generation. To our outstanding students, I congratulate you on your achievements and wish you continued success in your academics and your future endeavors. Will the students from Mr. Philippone's High School please come forward to accept your certificate?
Joseph right there. Congratulations. Kelly Arbritz is not here. Juliana Abdullah is not here. Jason? Yep. All right. Okay, congratulations. Thank you very much. Family want to take pictures? Anybody from the family want to take pictures? Now's the chance. There we go. All right. Younger generation. First Memorial High School students of the month, please come up. And Ms. Coyle. Hi. Nice to meet you. All right, I have no idea who anyone is, but we'll give it a shot. We have Adam Brine, Allie Durbin, just if I say your name. Right. What's that? You Adam. All right, good. Thank you. Marissa Gorlowski. Oh, wait, which was Catherine? Sorry, Catherine. Let me get to your certificate. Oh, great. Marissa Gorlowski. That's you. All right, you're next on the list here. All right, very good. Be right here. Samantha Netterman and Nicholas DeGrove. Anyone from the family want to take photos? Going once, going twice, sold. Here you Next up, we're going to have the Brick Township Girls Bowling Team. Councilwoman Zapsik. She's already.
Can we have the coach, Kara Lukosius, and the volunteer coach, Kristen Hayes, come up? The Brick Township High School Green Dragons girls bowling team has a well-deserved reputation as being one of the most dominant and successful interscholastic athletic programs in the whole state of New Jersey. Seems like every year we have them up here honoring them. The 2014-15 Green Dragons girls bowling team added their own chapter to this program's storied history, winning the NJSIAA Tournament of Champions title as the overall state champion. So what that means is all the group state champions, they all went against each other, and Brick came out on top of the entire state, number one team. In addition to the overall state championship, the Green Dragons won several prestigious tournament titles, the Ocean County Championship, the South Jersey Group 3 Championship, and their 8th consecutive NJSIAA Group 3 title. The Green Dragons girls bowling team was most ably led this past season by head coach Kara Lukosius and volunteer assistant coach Kristen Hayes. Because of all their accomplishments, they, again, in 2015, have a day named after them. So I, John G. Ducey, the mayor of the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, in honor of your outstanding season, which culminated in their capturing the NJSIAA Tournament of Champions title and earning the title as the best team in the entire state, do hereby proclaim Monday, April 27, 2015, to be Brick Township High School Girls Bowling Team Day.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the council, I'm pleased to award this resolution. When you're mayor, you get to say all the good stuff. Not that there's any bad stuff, but there is a couple things that were not included in either our resolution or the proclamation, and that's that this team was named the #1 girls bowling team in the state of New Jersey by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, which I would totally expect. And there were 2 students who made this the all-state team, correct? 3? So, I want to recognize the members of the NJSIAA State Champion Dragons, Nicole Almack, Madison Barasia, Jessica Dialucia.
Come on up. Come on up. Come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Juliana Forbes, Victoria Gray, Ann Jaggers, Brianna McLeod, Shivani Modi, April Sharkey, Emmeline Silver, and Victoria Spiria. And as we said, we have our volunteer assistant, Kristen Hayes, and our coach, Kara Lukosius.
Stay on your toes, John.
The mayor is photobombing the picture. It's totally photobombing.
Hey.
I'm going to buy him lips. No.
He is our number one fan. Jess, I can't see your face and I can't see your face. Front row, shrink little. I can't see the girls. Shrink, Madison. Shrink, Madison. Shrink. Julian and Noah.
Next, we have the Brick Memorial Wrestling Team. You just want to come up, who's ever here. And Councilman Fosman, Mayor.
Keep moving down, guys. Keep it moving.
All right. The Brick Memorial High School Wrestling Team, Coach Mike Denver, assistant coaches Dean Albanese, Tim Brennan, and the volunteer coaches Tony Nash, Russell Pascal, and Donald Miller. The Brick Memorial High School Wrestling Team has been one of the most consistently successful interscholastic sports programs in the state of New Jersey over the past 3 decades. This year's Mustangs team continued their program's record of success, and they had an awesome season with a record of 20 wins and 1 loss. And in addition to that, once the postseason started, the Mustangs captured their school's 15th Shore Conference Tournament Championship, 16th Division Championship, 29th District Championship, and their 15th State Sectional Championship. Also, on February 15th, 2015, the Mustangs defeated Hunterdon Central by the score of 53-15 to win the NJSIAA Group 5 title. The 9th state championship in the school's history, finished the season ranked 2nd in the state and 49th in the entire nation. That match happened out in Trenton, where I went to it. It was a snowy day, and when I got there, the score was very tight. They might have even been losing. It was 9-something. And then I sat down with my son Jack, and it was pin. It was one pin after another, and it was unbelievable to watch. In addition to all the team accomplishments, the Mustangs had 4 wrestlers make it to the finals of the individual wrestling tournament, with Alec Donovan capturing the 7th individual title in the program's history. For all the reasons stated, I, John G. Ducey, the mayor of the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, in honor of their outstanding season, which was capped off by winning the Group 5 State Championship, do hereby proclaim Thursday, April 23rd, 2015, to be Brick Memorial High School Mustangs Wrestling Team Day.
Council has a resolution for all the players and the coaches. The resolution says, the Brick Memorial High School Wrestling Program is well known as being one of the consistently strongest in both the state and New Jersey and the entire nation. And for over 3 decades, the Brick Memorial High School Mustangs Wrestling Team has been one of the most dominant programs in the state. And in 2014 and 15, Mustangs Wrestling Team continued the program's tradition of success by finishing the season with a 20-1 record and capturing the Shore Conference Tournament Championship of New Jersey Group 5 champion and an NJSIAA Group 5 champion. In addition, the Mustangs, who finished the season ranked second in the state and 49th in the entire nation, had cellular individual performances that included 4 wrestlers competing in the finals of the state tournament, and Alec Donovan winning the 7th individual title in the program's history. And the 2014 Brick Memorial Wrestling team is Kyle Angersbach, Joe Bacallman, Luis Bacallman, Andrew Castle, Ricky Davis, Alec Donovan, Marcus Foster, Giovanni Gione, Christopher Hayes, Anthony Mitchell, Robert Mittler, Connor Owen, Kyle Poling, Chris Richardson, Nick Riviera, Cliff Reggiano, and his brother Rob. Joe Stowers, Luke Vascovi, and Matt Warlong. And the head coach is Mike Denver. Assistant coach is Dean Albanese. Assistant coach is Tim Bremen. Volunteer coach Tony Nash. Volunteer coach Russell Pasquale. And volunteer coach Don Miller.
Any pictures? We want to take pictures. Yeah, I got it.
Guys in front. Guys in front.
You guys deserve it. I deserve it. You guys deserve it.
Whatever you want.
Little guys in the front.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Guys, that day of the 23rd, it's not a whole thing. Well, I want to make a quick announcement that you guys have to stay for the rest of the meeting too as part of the whole thing. Just joking. Councilman Moore and Councilman Fosman challenged us to a wrestling match anytime you're ready. I would, but as council president, I'm not allowed. So the mayor will stand in for me.
All right, as we can see, we kept one in particular wrestler up here. I know wrestling's a team sport, but for this particular thing, every March, 14 young men have their hands raised in victory in the entire state and call themselves NJSIA Wrestling State Champion, earning the privilege of standing on that podium down in Atlantic City, Atlantic City's Boardwalk Hall. It's a product of many years of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that every wrestler has put in. This past March, Brick Township Memorial High School senior Alec Donovan was among those 14 2015 state champions. He captured the 145-pound individual championship with a 1-0 decision over Stephen Glasgow of Boundbrook. The victory capped off an outstanding season in which Alec went 39-1, captured both the district and region championships, and captured the 7th individual state championship in the history of Brick Memorial High School. For all these reasons, I, John G. Ducey, the mayor of the Township of Brick, hereby proclaim Friday, April 24th, 2015, to be Alec Donovan Day.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Go school.
The council will also like to recognize you with a resolution. Pretty much reiterating what the mayor just said. As the council, we're honored to recognize you with this resolution from all of us up here. Thank you.
Nice.
Two interesting things. First, that resolution that Alec just got from Council President, that's something that he can always come back to. It's always on file here. So 50 years from now, if you want to bring your grandkids here, you can go to the clerk's office, if we're still in this building, where it is. And that resolution will be there. And I just found out that Alec Donovan Day is actually his birthday, which is pretty cool.
There you go. It's cool.
Meeting adjourned.
And that was the best thing you've ever said. I'm writing with my hands and you listen to it. And his brother. I'm just going to give you a whole list of Italian names to read every time you have to get up.
I got the hardest one. That one I knew one. I just drew a blank when we came to it. I even underlined it.
I'm really bad with Slavic names, so I have no room to talk. Danke schön, darling.
Thank you.
Keep them by you because I really want them.
Wait. You know what?
That who? Two wrestlers? Oh.
Oh, that's how Rams?
Oh, so we do. We'll have to just,
Can we get?
not tonight, right? We'll have to make.
Yes,
Who were
I
they?
think you have to.
Hmm?
Should.
Yeah.
I'll show you. You don't have to say anything.
Hmm?
You don't have to say anything. Sure. I would be too. Do you grab her and bring her back in?
Get everybody back in here.
Just going to have a 1 minute more break, and then we'll be okay. We'll be ready to go. And we have a special guest coming up this evening. Sitting right next to you. The man in white. The two wrestlers that weren't on.
No, it's older. It's not.
Hmm?
It's older. It's not memorial.
Go ahead. That's it. Tell Paul to go ahead.
next, our clerk and secretary. We're having technical difficulties. Well, the mayor's out there too. Good. All right, next up, we'll have our budget presentation of Chief Berquist from the Police Department.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening. The Department of Public Safety encompasses the Police Department and the Office of Emergency Management. The department is funded through 8 separate budget accounts. They are police vehicles, dispatch, special police, crossing guards, emergency medical service, police explorers, and emergency management. The police department is organized into 4 divisions: the operations division, the investigations division, the community policing division, and the administrative services division. Emergency medical service, crossing guards, special police, and police explorers are situated in the community policing division. Dispatch is part of the administrative services division. The department is staffed with a total of 248 employees, and today there are 128 regular police officers, 17 full-time communications operators, 4 part-time communications operators, 22 full-time emergency medical technicians, 19 part-time emergency medical technicians, 19 crossing guards, 10 support staff, and 18 Class 1 special police officers. The number of special police officers will rise to 25 to accommodate court security and the new booking officer position. Both of these efforts will lower overtime costs and free up regular police officers for patrol work. Part-time staff are used to mitigate overtime in the emergency medical service unit and dispatch functions. Special police officers are part-time hourly employees. The Office of Emergency Management is staffed with 1 full-time deputy coordinator, and the Township Safety Officer acts as a second deputy coordinator as needed. Last year, the department handled 81,557 calls for service, and that's our busiest year ever. To give you some perspective, in 2012, the department handled 74,065 calls for service, 7,492 fewer than we did last year. Despite the increase in workload, crime rates have remained flat, and most notably burglaries, however, fell by more than a third. As I go through each budget, I will discuss overtime in more detail. However, in 2014, the department overall reduced overtime by $1,150,272. I have provided each council member with copies of overtime summary reports produced by the department for 2013 and 2014. This year, the regular salary request for police officers is $16,268,051. In 2014, the department spent $13,334,561 from the regular police salary budget. In addition to that, $2,483,221 was charged to the Essential Services Grant pursuant to Sandy. The total amount spent on salaries last year for regular police officers was $15,817,782. In 2013, the township expended $1,524,941 on regular police overtime. Last year, the township allocated $1,545,000 for police overtime. The department expended $1,065,837 in police overtime, $479,163 less than allocated, and $459,104 less than in 2013. This year, the department is requesting $1,200,000 for police overtime, $345,000 less than requested last year. In 2014, the department was allocated $192,950 for non-salary police operating expenses. The department expended $186,552, $6,398 less than allocated. This year, the department is requesting $188,250 for operating expenses, $4,700 less than last year's allocation. The police vehicle budget has remained at $280,000 for the past 2 years. This year's request is $280,000. This allows the department to purchase on an average 7 patrol or unmarked vehicles each year. In 2016, we will have to consider increasing that line in order to maintain a serviceable fleet due to the increased cost of those vehicles. The dispatch budget funds salary, overtime, and training for the department's communications operators. The Communications Bureau processed more than 120,000 telephone calls last year, and every call for service is processed through the communications room. In 2014, the township allocated $1,100,000 for dispatch salaries. The department expended $1,076,348. This year's request is $1,124,500. The township budgeted $150,000 for dispatch overtime in 2014. The department spent $149,598 from that line. The overtime line also funds holiday pay pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement, part-time communications operators, and overtime for the full-time operators. The average hourly cost for a part-time operator is $20 an hour. The average hourly cost for a full-time operator working overtime is $40. Part-time operators are employed to reduce overtime costs and to keep the staffing levels appropriate in that room. The overtime and part-time costs for 2014 was $74,358. Almost half of that expenditure, though, was for part-time operators. If not for the deployment of the part-time operators, that expenditure would have exceeded $100,000. This year's request for dispatch overtime is $150,000, the same amount allocated last year. Until last year, the department employed a maximum of 15 Class 1 special law enforcement officers. That number will increase to 25 this year. Class 1 officers are part-time police officers who are not armed and have limited authority. Special officers earn $18.87 an hour. In 2013, the township allocated $132,000 for special police officers' salary and overtime. The expenditure for that year was $110,544. Last year, the department expanded the role of special police officers to include the new function of booking officer and court security. The booking officer receives prisoners from the arresting officer, processes those prisoners, and monitors those prisoners while incarcerated here. This allows the arresting officer to return to the road more quickly or to avoid overtime with an arrest that occurs late in the shift. Additionally, the booking officer frees up the watch commander from the time-consuming task of monitoring the cell blocks. In 2014, the department made more than 2,400 arrests. The administrative office of the court has mandated that the department provide security to the municipal court. As we acquire the equipment necessary to fulfill this commitment, it will be necessary to deploy at least 3 officers for each of the court's 10 to 11 sessions per month. To keep costs for this assignment down, 2 special police officers and 1 regular police officer will be assigned each session. By employing the special officers for court security, the cost is half of what it would be if the assignment was fully staffed with regular police officers. This year's request for special police salary and overtime is $230,000. Additionally, for the first full year of the expanded special police roster, the special police uniform line will be increased to $15,000 to accommodate the new hires. As I mentioned earlier, the school crossing guards are a unit within the community policing division. Last year, the salary expenditure for the crossing guards was $348,813. This year's request is $346,200. There's not much overtime in that unit. Last year, it was $2,203 in overtime. The request for that line this year is $1,500. Last year, the department handled 9,313 first aid calls. 8,438 of those calls were handled by the police EMS unit. The remaining 875 calls were transported by the Brick Volunteer EMS or a surrounding municipality providing mutual aid. Last year, the township spent $1,102,630 in regular EMS salaries. There was also $154,401 spent on overtime, which includes part-time EMTs used to keep overtime costs and the appropriate staff on the street down, and an adequate number of ambulances on the street. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself there. This year's salary request is $1,124,500. The overtime request is $150,000. Last year, the Emergency Medical Service Unit generated $1,657,220 in revenue, $400,188 more than expended on EMS salary and overtime. One of the many youth-oriented programs the department participates in is the Police Explorer program. The program teaches young people 14 to 21 about law enforcement. This year, the department is expanding the program to middle school children grades 6 through 8. Currently, there are 25 police explorers and 32 middle school kids enrolled in the new program. We're requesting $10,000 to operate these programs. In closing, I want to take a moment to commend all 248 employees in the Department of Public Safety, and I've got a few of them sitting behind me, for a job well done last year. I also want to thank Mayor Ducey, Business Administrator Bergen, and the entire council for your continued support of our mission. That support is essential to our success. Your most recent commitment to move forward with the renovations of our facilities will substantially enhance our efficiency and effectiveness. We have many difficult challenges in front of us. With your support and the hard work of the men and women of this department, I am certain we will continue to provide the quality of service our citizens deserve. And I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Nice work. Thank you, Chief.
Seeing none from the council, all open to public. Anyone has questions for the chief? Sir? No hat.
Just a question for the chief on the municipal court security. I think that's page 7. Is that something new? that
It-
I
we-
know, I can tell you.
It's relatively new. It's been, the AOC mandated that we provide security for the municipal court probably about 5 years ago. We've been reluctant to do that because of staffing issues we had. The AOC threatened to sue us. The assignment judge got involved and told us that we had to provide the security. So we're looking to purchase equipment to make it happen as efficiently as possible, but still with the layout of this building, it would take 3 people to provide an adequate level of security.
Who was doing it before?
No one.
No, so does that require 3 officers in the court themselves, or is this transporting?
No. The regular police officer will be providing the physical security to the courtroom while court's in session. The special police officers will be operating a metal detector and an X-ray machine to screen the people as they come into the courtroom, as opposed to physically searching all of their packages and each individual person for weapons coming in. That's the fastest, most efficient
That's the
way to do
equipment
it.
you're talking about?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir? Everyone, please remember to state your name and address, please.
Just in case you forgot my name, it's Stuart Scott, 16 Queen Anne. Good evening, Chief. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Scott, how are you?
I'm fine. I've got to say, the chief always has an open door policy. I was really busy with some personal stuff this week, so I really didn't get a chance to stop in. But I do have a question. In reading your proposal, this year the regular salary request is $16,268,051. In 2014, the department spent $13,334,561 on police salaries. My math comes to $2,933,490, which is a 22% increase. I just,
Yeah, if it's not on your paper there, because I added that to my, if you had listened to my presentation, I included the $2,483,221 that was charged to the Essential Services Grant. Okay, so that would not show up on the budget worksheet for the police department.
okay.
It would show up on that grant budget worksheet.
All right, so out of the $2,933,000, $2,484,000, you're saying is grants that actually apply to that, which
That-
brings the number way, way down.
Which,
So it's
in
not a
addition,
22%.
to the $13,334,561.
That's the number.
36 cents.
That I don't have.
That we spent on regular police salaries in 2014. There was an additional $2,483,000, or $483,221 that was charged, police salaries were charged to the Essential Services Grant.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
So you would just add that $2,483,000 to the 13,334,000, and that gives you the total number, and I had that in my presentation.
Which was 16 million. That number I have.
$15,817,782.
Okay. All right, that clarifies the 22%, so I'm okay with that. Let's just touch overtime for a second. This year, you're requesting $1,200,000 for police overtime. I understand what you compared it to for what you requested last year, but you actually spent last year $1,065,837. So you're looking at overtime going up about $134,000. Correct?
We're not anticipating it going up that much. We want to be prepared to cover that amount of work. If you looked at the workload increases over the past 5 years, it's about a 15% increase over the past 5 years of workload.
Okay.
So we need to be prepared with the number of people that we currently have on the street. Okay. That, if we hire people going forward, that'll mitigate the overtime number. If we don't hire people, then that overtime number may go up a little more.
Okay. Last but not least, I was listening carefully to your presentation because I came in last week to ask for some information on something that's on the agenda tonight for giving out a contract for EMS billing. You mentioned that, and I didn't get the exact number, but I just jotted down, the revenue brought in was approximately $1,600,000. I know you said it was more than that, but we're paying out 9% commission to the company that actually does that. That $144,000, we have no way of in-house, or, I mean, we've had a couple of years of doing that now, so my question to you is, do you see any other alternative that we could save $144,000? And 9% I think is excessive.
But two things to point out on that. First, we don't have the infrastructure to support that type of billing. Number one, we'd have to build that infrastructure, and I'm not sure how many employees it would take to actually do those operations. The company that we currently have, and I don't know the numbers, and I might put Supervisor EMT Bots on the spot in a minute, but we are doing substantially better with this company than we were with the last company. There's more collections, there's more money, the greater numbers coming in, and it was by several $100,000. So I don't know that that would be an efficient use. This is a good place, I believe, to outsource that work.
Okay, because in January alone, when I had gone to purchasing, there was like $21,000 that we paid this company. The point I'm trying to get across, just to renew this contract for an additional year, is there no way that we could go out and look, again, from what you just said, you had a bad experience with a prior company, but I think a 9% commission is really heavy.
This contract went out to bid.
We're in the third year, I think.
2 years or 3 years ago.
Two.
Okay, this company won the bid. They've performed, I've had no complaints with their performance. And the amount of money that is coming into the program is, the percentage is much better than it's ever been in the past.
Okay. You know, I rely on the information you give me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'll close public. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the regular order of business to accommodate the budget hearing.
Motion to suspend regular order of business for the budget hearing.
Can I second it?
Motion made by Vice President DeYoung, second by Councilman Fosman. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zepsic.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President, this is the time fixed for the public hearing on the 2015 municipal budget. The budget was introduced by the governing body on March 17, 2015, and was advertised in the Asbury Park Press on April 10, 2015, together with this notice of hearing for April 21, 2015 at this time.
Thank you. Anyone who has not secured a copy of the budget, they're on the back table and up front. If you need to pick one up, please do. I want to let the public know that we will not be adopting the budget tonight. We cannot adopt the budget until we receive word from the state on the Essential Services Grant application. Before opening to public hearing, I wish to outline the procedure. Each person desired to be heard will be raise their hand, wait to be recognized, and come forward to the microphone, give his or her name and address before speaking. I will recognize one speaker at a time. Address all questions to the chair. Where necessary, they will be referred to individual members of the governing body, municipal officials, or our advisors. Questions must be confirmed solely to the municipal budget before us. School, county matters are not proper subjects for this hearing and cannot be discussed at this time, here tonight. I now declare a public hearing open to the 2015 municipal budget. Who would like to be first? No questions from the public? Sir.
No question, just a couple of comments.
State your name and address, please.
Vic Finelli, 24 Meadow Point Drive.
Thank you.
People in Brick and in New Jersey really are not looking for a small increase in their taxes. In fact, they're not even looking for no increase in their taxes. They're looking for their taxes to go down. What happens when they don't go down? Well, first of all, people go for reevaluations of their houses. Correct?
Correct.
Students who go out of state to New Jersey, most of the time don't come back. They can't afford to live here. People are waiting longer to get married. The birth rate is down, well, everywhere except our neighbors to the west. Retirees are moving out in mass. And the problem is they take their money with them. Not just what they're earning for a week or a month or a year, but what they earn for their whole life. Right now, I think, my own personal opinion, even though it's only about 50% of what you're allowed as a township, we're carrying too much debt. At $162 million, about $14 million of that goes out to debt service. I know it's no easy task, but we got to start making some tough decisions because the money isn't going to be there. If you look at the demographic of what's going on, sooner or later there's not going to be enough money left for the people to pay the taxes, so you're going to be moving it to the people to the left, and then they're going to leave. And before you know it, we're going to be at Detroit or some other place like that. But when you go through these budgets and you go through your negotiations and everything else that you do, you got to be scrimping and thinking out of the box on how we're going to save even more money than we did. And I don't mean to, make short change of what the mayor's done. He lowered the debt service by $6 million. But you can see how this can get out of hand. In 2010, it was $99 million, and in 2015, it's $162 million. So it can get out of hand very quickly. And if you think that that's only half of what we allowed, all those mortgages that were allowed to do a couple years ago to practically some country, they were allowed. So we really need to, when you get into this budget, really look at it, find out where you can save money, and do some things out of the box. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Sir?
Do you mind hearing again? Okay, I do have some questions. I've asked this many times, but again, page 3 with the reserve for uncollected taxes. Every year, we always wind up collecting almost 99% of our taxes. Here we go, reserving 94.84%. Our tax sales through the last couple of years have been totally outstanding. We usually get premiums over and above what is owed. Again, why are we putting aside $9 million?
Business administrators respond to that.
Mr. Scott, the reason we put so much money in our reserve for uncollected taxes is that is also the line item with which we use to settle our tax appeals.
Okay. Historically, they are anywhere near this number?
Yeah, we do projections every year based on what is about to, looking to be settled. A lot of times there's multi-year appeals, but we do track what we expect to be settled in that calendar year, so we fund that line item appropriately.
Okay.
There are some commercial appeals we have out there that are 4 or 5 years, so they are pretty big numbers.
Okay. Page 8, sheet 8, EMS service fees, that's the amount that we collect?
Joanne, what is it?
I know we collected $4 million to date
Say again?
we collected $4 million to date in fees from Revenue Guard, but that is more than 2014. So this is revenues for EMS, but it seems reasonable to me it's 1.4 million. We collected $4 million since we started with Revenue Guard. Yep. Last year was 1.6, this year is 1.4.
Okay. And with what Chief said, we're seeing more and more positive results. So $1.6 million, we've underfunded that by almost $150,000 according to this. Why wouldn't that number for monies collected be going up instead of backwards?
Well, we are actually going to probably address that in the budget, but Scott is, our CFO, tends to budget conservatively so that we're not short. Is probably the best answer I can give you to that question.
Okay. We've played that game before. 3C. Some explanation, okay. Analysis of compensated absence liability. That's a big number. How much of that money do we have set aside? 3C. Compensated absence liability, $7,229,000.
These are our different unions, TW, Teamsters, PBA. This is a gross accumulated days of absence times what they make gives you the values in the value line. The unclassifieds have a max at 150 days, which equals 80%. So we budget based on what the contract says is the maximum that we would have to pay out. So the gross days of accumulated absence are the max for what we would have to pay in these different unions. And the unclassifieds are obviously not a union, so the dollar amounts are multiplied by their hourly rate for the
Okay,
those
so
maximum hours.
that's kind of the answer I'm looking for. So then do I understand that correctly, that in 2015, you've allocated the maximum, which is $700,000, the bottom line? That's the most you anticipate in paying out?
Yes, based on our contractual obligations
Okay,
and employees, what they have paying currently.
okay. Can I also, through the chair, asking you, why are we increasing our surplus from $7,077,000 to over $10 million in 1 year? That's another $3 million cushion. All these cushions act for the tax increase that we're gonna get. Why are we putting in another $3 million? We've got a cushion for tax reserves, another cushion. Why $3 million?
I'll let our business administrator ask that. And do you have further questions? You could obviously set up an appointment. We're not adopting this budget this evening, so you could set an appointment with Mrs. Bergen
I'm
and
trying to
discuss it.
get a feel of how you feel, because you're going to vote on the budget.
Right.
I know how I feel when I go to ask the questions, but I'm asking you
Well,
how
I'd
you
even be, I'd be
feel.
happy to meet with you too afterwards if you wanted with Ms. Bergen or my own, on my
But the
own
pur-
time.
but
That's
the
not a
purpose
problem.
of this meeting tonight is for public comment.
Correct,
So if
correct.
it's not made now,
But
it's gone.
right, well, we're not adopting the budget this evening.
I understand that.
We have to wait, so
Would
there's
you
time to
just like me to
discuss
make a
it.
quick comment?
Sure,
Council
please.
President Lemuel? This year's budget utilizes $10 million in surplus in order to balance the budget, which is the equivalent of 9.8 cents. That'll offset the tax rate increase, which leaves us $5.9 million in surplus for cash flow purposes, which is 6% of the proposed operating
I
budget.
understand that. I just want to make sure everybody understands that.
And these amounts are, and percentages are generally what's recommended for basic municipal accounting.
That could be argued. That could be argued.
Yeah, you said we were left with a $10 million surplus. We're utilizing 10 million, which leaves us with 6.
Correct.
Okay. I thought you said you were.
No, you're, in your 2015, you were anticipating 10 million. That's
Utilizing.
right, that's what you have there. Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on the budget? Seeing none, I will close public. Ask for,
Council President, if I may, Joanne, it's been quite a few years since I took my municipal finance class, but if I'm not mistaken, the reserve for uncollected taxes and the liability that we have to carry for the sick days and vacation days, those are fixed by state statute, are they not? Not a fixed number, but in terms of that it's not a cushion, they're not arbitrary figures, that is what statutorily we are obligated to carry on our budget, correct? Thank you.
thank you. No further questions from the public or council. I'll entertain a motion to close
Motion-
public.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Zapsik, second by Councilwoman Pontarero. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Mumolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to the consent agenda.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Resolution 6-1, recognize Brick Township High School girls bowling team, which we did earlier. They did a great job. Congratulations again. Resolution 6-2, recognize Brick Memorial High School wrestling team. Seemed like the whole school was here. They did a great job. Resolution 6-3, recognize Brick Memorial High School wrestling team champion Alec Donovan. Great job. He's very proud. His parents should be very proud. We're all proud of him, too. Thank you very much. Resolution 6-4, recognize the 50th anniversary of Lanes Mill School. And I believe the mayor would like to speak because he was there before the meeting.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I was there along with Councilwoman Pontarero. We did go take a look at their 50th anniversary. It did happen. The celebration happened tonight down at Lanes Mill at Elementary School. There was a couple interesting things that were there that I'd like to share. There was a 1964 graduate, which is the first graduating class. He drove all the way here from West Virginia for the celebration. He did mention to Principal Luckenbach that there was both a 50-year and a 100-year time capsule, and everybody in the school is well aware of where the 100-year time capsule is, but I guess there's no memory of where this 50-year capsule is, if it actually exists or not. So if anybody out there knows if they were around in 64 and they know where it was buried, or maybe built into the wall at some point or in the floor, if you can let the principal know over there, because they'd like to find out what's in there, and maybe they'll have another celebration. The other interesting thing I thought was there was only 5 principals over the whole history of the school. Mr. Luckenbach is the 5th principal, so over 50 years, it's a pretty impressive rate, not a high turnover rate, which is nice for the students to have that type of stability. Really excellent. He walked in the front door. There's a big banner, character counts, 50-year celebration. All the classroom doors are decorated for the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, etc. with different, like the 80s had a Rubik's Cube and a Michael Jackson CD cover, and the 60s had, peace and love signs, things like that. So it was, kind of nostalgic walking through, and there was tiles that each individual student did with some words of kindness on there, and I guess our Lieutenant Mazza had helped put that together last minute because there was some problems with it, and he was able to volunteer his time over the over the weekend. The chief spoke as well, and so it was great, and congratulations to Lanes Mill Elementary for 50 years of educating our students and doing such a great job molding the children here in Brick. I don't know if Councilwoman wanted to add anything.
I'll reserve for my public comments.
Thank you. We could also ask them if they want to start a garden at the school. We could tell them that there's certain areas where the 50-year time capsule have the kids turn the dirt over. A great way to get the garden started. All right, Resolution 6-5, authorize emergency temporary appropriation. The resolution allows us to increase the line item department budgets as needed until we have adopted the budget. Resolution 6-6, authorize reimbursement of township bricks for street lighting. The resolution authorizes the treasurer to issue checks from 2 escrow accounts in the amounts of $41,458.40 and $518 respectively to reimburse back funds paid to the township for brick for street lighting. This escrow accounts were created to cover the cost of street lighting while neighborhoods were being built out, which work has been completed. All outstanding charge changes have been satisfied by JCP&L. Therefore, the escrow should be closed out, which will move into our surplus. Resolution 6-7, authorize receipts of bids, rental equipment, and operator. This resolution authorizes the township to go out for bids for rental equipment and operators, including backhoes, chippers, dozers, excavators, tandems, etc. This is necessary in the event of an emergency that we have these in place. This is for a one-year contract that will expire on June 10th, 2015. To date, we have spent $3,800 to rent a light tower at Vets Memorial Middle School. Resolution 6-8, authorize award of contract Stafford Township Cooperative for automobile parts and supplies. The township participates. The township is a participating agency under the Stafford Township Co-op pricing system. Stafford Township is the lead agency and submitted to all members the award of 2-year contracts for automotive parts and supplies. These vendors are Advanced Fastener Industries, Inc., Arlington, Virginia, Chromate Industrial Corporation, Bohemia, New York, Conway Automotive, Inc., Manahawkin, New Jersey, Eastern Warehouse Distributors, LLC, Langhorne, PA, Fred Bean Parts, Inc., Doylestown, PA, Grand Turk Equipment Company, Bridgeport, PA, Parts Authority, Inc., Piscataquis, New Jersey, Truist, Inc., Farmingdale, New Jersey. Resolution 6-9, authorizing award of rebate improvements to Colorado Park. Councilwoman Zapsik, would you like to elaborate on that, please?
Thank you, Council President. You may remember that a couple months ago, we went out to bid for Colorado Park, and we rejected those bids as they came in higher than the budget we had set for the renovations to that park pursuant to the mayor's debt reduction plan. I'm happy to announce that the bids we went back to the drawing board with our engineers, made some small changes, a number of small changes that resulted in some significant savings without compromising the integrity or the quality of the park renovations. So this resolution awards the contract to Precise Construction of Freehold in the amount of $998,452. The original bids came in at $1.3 million, so we're looking at some significant savings on this park renovation, again, without compromising the quality of the project.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman. Resolution 610, authorize name change for Township Insurance Broker Consultant. The resolution acknowledges the name change of its broker consultant for employee vision and dental health benefits from Creative Financial Group of New Jersey to MetLife, doing business as MetLife Premier Client Group of New Jersey. Oh, I forgot to bring up, we're going to be removing off the consent agenda 615 and 617 will be removed. until we get further information on that. 612. Did I miss something?
You did 611.
611. I just did 11. What's that?
You're on 611.
611. I always do that. 611, authorize award of contract retirees employees dental program. The resolution authorizes the award of contract to International Healthcare Services, Inc. to provide retirees employees a dental program for a 20-month period starting May 1st through December 31st, 2016. The monthly rates stay the same as the previous contract, which are single coverage of $26.57, two-party coverage of $53.14, and a family coverage of $89.54. Resolution 612, authorize renewal contract, EMS billing and collection. This resolution renews year 3 and year 4 of our 5-year contract to Renew Guard to provide EMS billing and collection. To date, the company has collected $4,140,000. The contractual amount to the company is 9% of collections. They have been paid $373,259 to date. Resolution 613, authorize disposal of public safety surplus property. This resolution authorizes disposal of 18 American Body Armor ZO2 bulletproof vests and 90 Monadonic PR-24 batons. Chief, I know I screwed that up, sorry. Batons. Not that part, the other part. That no longer are needed by the police department. The equipment is outlived its useful life and has no monetary value. 614, authorize appointment indoor air quality officers. Resolution authorizes Joseph Gilson, risk manager, and John Loyola, assistant supervising maintenance repair, are the township designees responsible for the township's compliance with the New Jersey Public Employees Occupational Safety and Health Program. Both Joe and John do a great job around town. Resolution 615 is off. Resolution 616, authorize person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of plenary retail consumption liquor license to Mayo ASAM LLC, TA Blackthorn Restaurant and Irish Pub. This authorizes a person-to-person, place-to-place transfer of a plenary retail consumption liquor license to Mayo 4SAM LLC, trading as Blackhorn Restaurant and Irish Pub. This approves the transfer from Simcoe's on Brick Boulevard to what now will become the Irish Pub, which I believe will have SP, I'm not quite sure the new name.
PJ Sweeney's.
PJ Sweeney's. I was close. 617 will be removed. 618, authorize special events permit, Brick Rotary Walk for Humanity. This resolution approves a special events permit for the Brick Rotary Club to conduct a Walk for Humanity at Brick High School on June 6, 2015. It'll start at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Resolution 619, authorize a waiver of noise ordinance for Turco Construction. We did this a while ago, but the construction, they had trouble with the weather because we've had such a horrible winter. So they needed different dates. So this resolution approves the waiver for the township noise ordinance for Turco Construction for 909 Cedar Bridge Avenue from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. From April 1st through the 24th. Hopefully the weather will hold up and we'll be able to get it done. I don't see any snow in the future, so that's good. Resolution 620, authorize return of escrow balance, Brick Standard LLC. This resolution authorizes return of escrow balance to Brick Standard LLC in the amount of $462,668.86. The $462,000 requested to be refunded represents the excess Brick Standard alternative gave the township to settle all charges affiliated with the final rollover of the notes and bonds associated with the solar project. These unspent proceeds belong to Brick Standard, and a developer's agreement requires the funds to be paid back. First principal payment is due in October. Resolution 621, I'd like our...
Do you want to, redevelopment council's here, do you want to
Not unless we have questions on it yet.
Yeah.
What's that? Now? Should we have him speak now?
Sure, explain.
Yeah, explain that, okay.
President Mumlo, we have Matt Jessup here.
Yeah,
from
thank
McManaman
Matt Jessup,
Scott-
thank you.
Scotland Bauman. He's our bond counsel who worked with us on the landfill financing, so
You could explain that, because there were questions on our last meeting concerning that.
Sure, although I thought you did a great job with the speech you just gave.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Matt Jessup, McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman. You have a resolution before you. You heard briefly from Council President earlier. This resolution authorizes the release of loan funds and cash funds that are the property of the developer who built the French's Landfill solar farm. Go all the way back to 2012 when the project first started. The developer received a loan financed through township notes, but make no mistake, it was a loan of money to the developer for the developer's use in connection with the construction of the project. Those funds, although loaned to the developer, were for security reasons held by the township and requisitioned by the developer as he needed money. As he completed more of the project and had bills to pay, he asked the township for that money. Township recognized the project was being built and would send the money off to the developer to pay his bills. Fast forward to 2015 now, or really fall of 2014, the project is complete. The short-term loans, which were evidenced by bond anticipation notes, short-term notes issued by the township, were converted into long-term bonds. The project was finalized. Reconciliations were done of amounts originally raised by the township, cash infused by the developer, and the amounts spent out by the developer. And we're at the point now where there are funds that are part of the loan funds or cash funds that were handed to the township from the developer that are no longer needed because the project is built. Those are funds of the developer, and so the township is required at this point to, or really a couple months ago, required to release those funds back to the developer for his use. The developer has paid debt service on all of the notes that were issued to date. The developer is obligated to pay debt service on the bonds. There's been one debt service payment so far in March. Developer made that payment 45 days in advance as required under his loan agreement. The next one is coming up in the fall. We expect obviously he'll be making those payments as well. I can take you through the security for the bonds. I know we went through it once way back when, but that's the source of the funds. Again, they're held by you, but they are loan funds or cash funds that are due to the developer now that the project is complete.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Move on to 621. Township Clerk.
Yes, thank you. We have an inspection fund release for Lighthouse Court off Hooper Avenue in the amount of $189.44. And also to New Millennium Bank off Green Grove Road in the amount of $250. And those are engineering inspection fund releases, and those are recommended by the township engineer.
Thank you. 622, Tax Collector. Ms. Bergen, please. Thank you.
certainly. Tax payments is 622A. Tax overpayments 2015 in the amount of $2,269.70 for Block 36, Lot 31, Route 35 North, and in the amount of $1,320.29 for Block 1283.59, Lot 1, which is 353 Willow Avenue. 622B, tax overpayments to homestead benefits. 4 have been issued to Block 970, Lot 11, address 636 Carol Fox Road, in the amount of $267.70. Block 902.11, Lot 3, for 103 Crescent Drive, in the amount of $425.46. Block 971, Lot 1, 575 Robin Hood Road, in the amount of $612.31. And Block 902.18, Lot 7, for 113 Road Place, in the amount of $435.80. 622C, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted, Brick Boulevard LLC, 545 Brick Boulevard, in the amount of $51,340.84, which is a 2-year appeal. 622D, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted for 100 Route 35 North, Block 64, Lot 11, in the amount of $2,602.70, which is a 2-year appeal. 622E, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted for 650 Princeton Avenue, Block 933, Lot 42, in the amount of $3,563.92, which is a 2-year appeal. 622F, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted, 404 Princeton Avenue, Block 911.01, Lot 4, in the amount of $3,593.40, which is a 2-year appeal. 622G, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted, Block 44.05, Lot 16, which is 277 Dutchman's Point Road, in the amount of $3,458.98. 622H, tax overpayments due to state tax appeal granted for Block 685, Lot 5.03, which is 540 Route 70, in the amount of $31,389.13, which is a 2-year appeal.
Great, thank you. I'll open the council. Any questions? No one? No one once, twice, gone. I'll call for a motion in a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Ponterero, second by who?
Me.
Vice President DeYoung. Open to public for any questions on resolutions. Sir?
I'm going to start off by saying I was going to question again the EMS contract. But after talking to the chief is definitely satisfied. I was thinking about asking you to do a 1-year renewal instead of 2, but he feels that what we're getting is definitely worth the money. So the $144,000 I'm not going to argue about. You evidently had somebody up here authorizing return of escrow balance. I didn't even know who he was. I come in and I get a copy of the agenda. The copy I had said agenda number 1. I'm looking at another copy of agenda says agenda number 1, not a number 2. This thing wasn't even on the original agenda, so I'm a little ticked off, to be honest with you. Not a little ticked off, because I would have had all my paperwork to object as to why. I didn't hear this explanation. I didn't know when this got on there. I'd like some explanation about that.
Why it wasn't on a second. So that, was this brought, Jen, was this brought on later? When was this presented?
It was prior, it came after I gave you the agenda. We had an agenda meeting and it came on after that. I didn't know if I had to place it on there at the time here when I gave you that.
Okay, so right off the bat, this is a public meeting. This should say agenda number 2, and I would have done my due diligence and had everything prepared. I'm just bewildered. That is really no way to treat the public. And you know, this answer, and you know, I've done a lot of work on this, and I've spoken to the business administrator about this. I, as a taxpayer, have my house put up as collateral for those bonds that the chief financial officer of this town assured me in front of the business administrator that we have full protection. And when I read the whole agreement, it didn't seem that it was that way at all. I spoke to Mr. Starkey. Mr. Starkey thought that I was right. I didn't like that answer that I was right, because you people authorized changing one name to the other name, going to brick standard. Where is the protection for our homes of money that we have invested? Now to show up, and when this was done, the financial expert that you had hired, Arcadis, and I'm going to go back and listen to that meeting. No monies are going to be paid back until we're made whole, and all of these obligations are taken care of. I show up to these meetings. I make notes of that, and that didn't happen. So where are we with this nonsense? All of a sudden, it's on the agenda, and we're going to move forward again on $500,000. I think that's ludicrous.
Well, the gentleman here will answer your question.
Before he answers, why was this?
I'm not
change
sure
and how did it
why
happen?
you don't have a copy of it on the agenda. When did?
I can speak to the number of the agenda. When you were provided the agenda on Thursday or Friday, whichever day it was,
Right.
that was still a draft agenda.
Right.
Jennifer makes probably 20 or 30
At
changes
least
to the agenda
the drafts change.
between the start of it and it being posted on the website on Friday and the council receiving their packages.
Okay. And-
So she doesn't change until it's posted and faxed to the newspapers and all that, the number of the agenda is not changed if they've never received it in any other form.
Council President, if I could also
Mr. Scott,
address this.
in the future, you should get the agenda when we get our agenda.
After the council gets their
At-
agenda.
Right. The council gets the agenda. That's probably
Friday
the best time.
afternoons.
So that you know you're getting the official agenda.
Right, but
It
to
changes
wait to the
quite a bit.
last minute, and there's,
This wasn't last minute. This was
is
Friday.
Friday.
Friday, that this was put on the
and we're,
agenda.
and today's Tuesday. So you're
Right.
saying, get it on Friday and try to do all your due diligence in a
We
day
already
and a
looked
half.
at this and discussed this and had meetings since your last meeting where you objected to it and got the answers, and our attorney will answer.
Council President, I just wanted to point out, because I know some people don't attend all the meetings, this resolution, or one very similar to this, was on the last council meeting. I know you know this, but I just think it should be clear that saying
Correct.
this suddenly came up is just not correct. This was on the last council agenda. It was publicly discussed at this meeting, and I believe that it was stated at that meeting that it would be carried until this meeting. So I just don't think it's fair to say that this suddenly came up. And I know that, and I think you know, that the agenda for all these meetings is often not finalized until the Friday before the meeting, which this one was, which is actually pretty, I think, substantial notice to anyone who's looking for updates. So I just wanted to point out that this didn't just come up suddenly at this meeting.
So then for clarification, what is the answer as to why we're giving this back?
Let me, if he wasn't properly introduced, this is Matt Jessup,
I
who's
was-
sitting to your right.
Unfortunately, I was talking to the chief at that particular moment.
He is the Township's redevelopment counsel. I'm the township attorney, but on this particular project, Matt Jessup and his firm are the ones that handled the nuts and bolts of this. So I think it's a good question, and I'm going to ask Mr. Jessup to respond to that.
Sure, and I'm sorry you didn't hear the explanation I gave to the council earlier. These are funds that are a combination of loan proceeds of a loan that the developer took and cash proceeds that the developer put into the project at the time that the project was being completed. 100% of the project was funded upfront, and all of the money was held by the township, even though all of the money was the developer's money. But as a security mechanism, not unlike a construction loan from a construction bank to a project, that money was held by the township and requisitioned down milestone by milestone by the developer as he built the project. That protection, of course, is so that when the developer says, I spent $2 million on the project, the township has an ability to confirm that that $2 million was spent before the money goes out the door. So all of the money was held by the township from day one, even though all of the money was the developer's money. Fast forward to completion of the project is complete. The short-term loans were long-term financed. The long-term loan agreement is locked into place. All of the security measures you alluded to earlier are in place, including the $2.1 million letter of credit issued by PNC Bank to help secure the township. All of those items are in place. The project is complete. The developer is owed the balance of his money that has been his from day one and held by the township on his behalf.
Where is the guarantee for the, what are we on the hook for, $21 million worth of bonds at this particular point?
It's a 23,600 and change, perhaps.
Okay, so the public was told that no monies were going to be paid to the developer until we were even across the board. $23 million isn't even to me. So where is the guarantee of the $23 million?
Well, I can't comment on what was and wasn't repeated in the past, obviously, because I haven't been at all of those meetings. What I can tell you is that there are approximately 6 security measures in place to protect the township with respect to the $23 million in bonds that are issued by the township.
And I've asked to see those. I've asked through the business administrator. The business administrator told me just speak to the chief financial officer. Chief financial officer told me, well, it was taken care of with the bonding council. I said, fine. You know what? I'm like Truman. Show me. Show me. Don't pass the buck, just show me. I've yet to see that.
Well,
I mean, I don't know if, have you, any of you seen any of that proof that we're protected with that money? I'd like to know.
Well, the executed
Because
loan.
I haven't, and I've really pursued this.
And maybe the reason that you haven't is because the person to ask is right in front of us right now. This is our Councilor Blanca, and I'm sure he'll be able to give you a copy of
yeah,
what the 6 different regulations are that protect our citizens and protect our homes.
And you had just said that there were 6 different ways of which we're protected. What 6 ways, and what are they? I mean, can you elaborate on what they are?
I can, sure. And point of record, all of the loan agreement, the escrow agreement, the letter of credit, all of those documents are public documents. I mean, we're happy to send them over to you if you're looking for them. You can take a look at them all yourself.
What are the 6 protections that we have right now? Because I have not gotten any that I've asked for from the township.
Sure.
So if you could tell me.
So the revenue stream, think of a revenue stream that needs to be produced for the developer in order for him to make debt service payments on the bonds, right? One revenue stream is the power purchase agreement payments that are made by the township and by the township MUA directly to the bond trustee. So a portion of the revenue that is dedicated to pay debt service on the bonds comes from payments required to be made by the township and by the township's MUA. So if you believe that the township and the MUA are high credit tenants, which I imagine you would, that money is money paid every year, and it's paid directly to the bond trustee, who obviously holds the money and pays it to pay the bonds, right? So that's one revenue stream that the township and the MUA are in complete control over that is used to repay their bonds, okay? 2, there is a general obligation loan agreement between Brick Standard and the township. Requires Brick Standard from any sources of funds that it has available to it, and has pledged the membership interests of its company over to the township in the event that there is a failure to pay, including all of the assets of Brick Standard, which includes the solar array, and any other assets and any other money they have, all of which are pledged to the township in the event that there's a non-payment of a general obligation loan pledge that the developer is required to make under the loan agreement.
If I could ask a question about that.
Okay.
Okay. Are the assets in excess of the $23 million? Because the setup of this, the way I read it, was it's an LLC, and they're only obligated to the amount of the assets that they own or control. So do they have in excess of the $23 million?
Well, you have a solar array that, A, cost more than that to build, right? So presumably
Which
the value
we put up the
of
money
it,
for.
No, they're paying the debt service on it. It's their loan, right? So until there's
As
a
long as they're
default,
paying,
that's exactly right, but that's what we're talking about right now, right? So that's an asset that cost more than $23 million to build, and it has a value beyond that, because if you were to take it over, you would have energy for free versus energy at rates that you're paying. And you'd have the asset itself, plus the results of the asset, which are free energy.
Okay.
The next one is SREC sales. The developer, every time a kilowatt hour gets produced by that solar array, the developer earns an SREC, a solar renewable energy credit. Those solar renewable energy credits are traded, are sold on an exchange, not unlike a stock exchange, dedicated for SRECs throughout the region, the PJM, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland region. Every dollar of SREC sales that the developer produces is automatically pledged and required to be used to pay debt service on the bonds. The SRECs themselves, in the event of default, become an asset that the township can foreclose upon. So if you have 50,000 SRECs that are valued at $200 apiece, and the developer fails to pay debt service, the value of 50,000 SRECs at $200 apiece becomes an asset of the townships to convert to cash. Those SRECs are produced on an annual basis every single year for 15 years, which is the debt service on the bonds. That's why the debt service on the bonds was 15 years and not longer, because SRECs only go out 15 years under current law. That may change, of course, but under current law. So you have all of the revenue from all of the SRECs.
But they're sold every year, correct, the SRECs?
They can be sold in advance. You can sell 3 years. You can sell SRECs that will be earned in 2017 today on today's market if you want. You can sell last year's SRECs. You can sell next year's SRECs. It's an entire market of a liquid asset.
That scares me even more. So if they sell SRECs in advance and have gotten that money, you now have that obligation to also meet if they've sold it beforehand.
Any proceeds that they use to sell, they're required to use to pay debt service on the bonds. So why would you have an issue with, right?
Okay.
That money would be yours one way or the other.
So that automatically goes to bond depletion?
Correct.
Okay.
Through their loan repayments, correct. Then there's a letter of credit. We required the developer to put up a letter of credit from an investment-rated bank, PNC Bank. Everybody's familiar with PNC Bank, I imagine, in an amount equal to the maximum year of debt service. So the debt service on the township bonds is relatively level. It is roughly $2.1 million every single year. That was also done intentionally because debt service stays the same, but the price for energy and the revenues from that energy go up, which of course, as you know, then increases the cushion and increases the debt service coverage, which provides more security to the township. That letter of credit was required for the max year, which is 2028. So there's a letter of credit on demand in the event that the developer doesn't pay for whatever reason in the amount of $2.1 million, which is intended to provide a year's worth of debt service so that the township can then exercise all of its other remedies in the event of a default, such as going against the, claiming against the collateral that we've discussed, the assets, claiming against the SREC collateral, which we've talked about, converting those SRECs, if they're certificates, into cash, converting any other assets of the LLC because it's general obligation. You have a year to convert all of those things and or work out a remedy, work out a solution. It also protects you in the event that there's significant damage to the solar array and the solar array is not producing energy for 6 months and the developer couldn't make payment because for that reason, right? No revenue coming in, hard to make a payment going out the door. You have a letter of credit from an investment grade rated bank that the township has where on demand, PNC has to make that payment as well.
But based on an annual number, which is $2.1 million, not on a cumulative number of 2 million times 15. So the letter of credit's not for $30 million.
No. As I said, it's for 1 year's debt service. It's intended to provide 1 year so that A, you either work out of default with the developer, or B, you have time without hitting the township's budget to convert all of these other assets that we've been talking about
Now, who signed the
into
letter of
remedy or
credit?
crash.
Brick Standard or the former company that was there before we allowed them to sign it over, to assign it to Brick Standard?
A letter of credit, it doesn't matter who bought the letter of credit. The letter of credit is in the name of Brick Township. So it's literally a 3-piece piece of paper issued by PNC Bank that says if Brick Township comes to an office, comes to a teller and says, here, the conditions for payment have been met, pay me, the bank has to pay Brick Township directly. So it's Brick Standard bought the letter of credit, but it's irrelevant. They pay for a letter of credit, they're out the door. They have nothing to do with it at that point. It is a demand obligation that's presented by the township directly to PNC Bank. It says the conditions 1, 2, and 3 need to be met for us to pay. The township says conditions 1, 2, and 3 were met. PNC sends $2.1 million out the door. That's what a demand letter of credit does. So who bought it is irrelevant. It's who's going to pay you that is relevant. PNC as an investment grade rated bank. And where I'm sure you're headed, yes, if PNC for whatever reason doesn't roll it over, the developer is required to provide a replacement letter of credit with another A or better rated investment bank. And if PNC's rating is reduced or withdrawn as a result of financial difficulties, yes, the developer is required to go out to another investment-rated bank and provide a replacement letter of credit. So if any of those become a concern with respect to PNC Bank, not that I'm suggesting they would, there are provisions that require another letter of credit to be provided. And if the developer can't provide that letter of credit, the township calls on it. They convert it to cash. And then it doesn't matter. Then they hold $2.1 million in cash if they ever need it. To your other point, yes, it doesn't cover all of the debt service, but for every year that you don't pay, that you don't need it, because for every year the developer makes payment, it's one less year that you have to worry about, right?
Exactly.
Right.
You know, I wanted to quickly get down to zero if possible.
That's exactly right. You also, as I said, you have the asset itself, right? You have the solar array, which A, has a value. It has a value not just in the physical materials of it. It has a value because it's a revenue-producing asset. It produces energy that gets sold out into the grid. It gets sold down, and the electrons literally end up in Washington, D.C., fueling a light somewhere or other places. That has a value to it. People pay for that energy. The township and the MUA get the benefit of that revenue right off the bat, but it is an asset that has significant value. And the final one I would mention, with respect to solar projects generally, these projects are federally subsidized, right? Solar's too expensive on its own to just produce. So the programs are federally subsidized. Effectively, you have two choices. You can either take an upfront cash payment, or you can take a tax credit every single year for 15 years, right? If you take an upfront cash payment, Treasury would have cut a check to the developer already for 1/3 of the cost of the project.
10 million.
And they would, a little less, and they would have taken that money and presumably done whatever they wanted to with it, right? Instead, this developer said, I don't want the upfront cash, I want the annual tax credit, probably because it's more valuable to them, right? A big company like Iron State, huge balance sheet, probably has a pretty significant tax liability, I'm going to guess, on an annual basis, and a tax credit, literally a credit against the tax they have to pay, can be very valuable to them. But they can only take it in each individual year for 15 years. If there's a default, if there's a recapture, if the township takes over the solar facility, Iron State loses the ability for every future year of getting that tax credit. So let's say, hypothetically, that tax credit's worth $1 million a year to Iron State. If they were to default in year 2, they'd be walking away from $26 million worth of tax credits, all because they weren't going to pay a $2 million debt service obligation on a $23 million bond issue. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's guarantee that they're going to make their payment every year, but we felt really good when they decided to go that route versus the upfront cash route, because it clearly puts them invested in the project to a significant amount of money if they ever walked away.
So my question to follow that up then is, when Iron State originally put up the guarantee,
during construction, correct,
to the time that they started producing electricity, which, again, has nothing to do with you, Chief Financial Officer of the town said it was different. However, with that said, Iron State was 90% owner of who was ever there before Brick Standard.
Standard Alternative, correct.
Okay. And Standard Alternative gave all of these guarantees. Then it was assigned to Brick Standard.
Where the ownership remained 90% Iron State and 10%.
It doesn't say that in the redevelopment. It doesn't say that they own it at all. So you're saying that they are the owner of it? It's a...
At loan closing, they provided documentation that showed that Iron State was a 90% owner of Brick Standard.
Of Brick Standard, not of Standard Alternative.
Well,
because
Brick Standard being the new company, today's company.
Correct.
Right. They were 90% owner.
Are they today?
They were as of the closing. We have no reason to have asked them since then because they've made every single payment on time. And they've lived up to every contractual provision of the loan agreement and the escrow agreement to date. Notwithstanding that we haven't given them their money back, they are still honoring every last provision of their loan agreement.
Okay. And evidently, you had a lot to do with all of this negotiation.
Going back, starting about a year ago? Starting about a year ago,
so
not from the beginning.
So you're saying, again, the monies that are produced for the revenues of both the township and the MUA, we have to pay, and it's right now we're paying 8.75 cents.
8.5, I believe. We got it down to 8.5, actually.
Okay, well, this was another number that
Yeah, we got down to 8.5
I asked
cents,
that
so.
question 2 weeks ago. I haven't been privy to the answer from our financial officer.
Yeah,
He
that's
was gonna
also in
find-
the,
he was gonna
in
find
the
out. Okay,
redevelopment
so-
agreement amendments that have been adopted by council and executed in our public
Okay,
documents.
so I'll accept the 8.5, but there were letters from their attorney, which were like advisory letters saying that if the bonds were sold for 4.4%, they would give it to us for 8.75. If it was sold for less than that, 4.2%, they would give us for 8.5 cents. The bonds wound up getting sold for 2% for the first 5 years. How did we come out at the short end of the stick for that?
Yeah, the township has really good credit based on good financials, so they end up getting great rates in the
But it did
marketplace.
us no good as far as paying less for the electricity that we're paying for.
Well, I would argue differently. I think there were different understandings regarding what agreements had formally been reached by both parties and executed by both parties, and what agreements had not been reached by both parties and executed by both parties. And what I can tell you is that from our perspective, the only valid and contractually binding obligation with respect to the rate prior to us working to negotiate it at the direction of the mayor down was a 9-cent PPA rate. And ultimately, we got that negotiated down to 8.5 cents.
But it was
now,
in-
to your point, though,
It was in writing, though. If it was less than 4.4, it would be 8.5, period.
Not necessarily executed by both parties and in a valid and binding format. Look, I'm not here to revisit
The
history
former
with
mayor
you.
didn't sign that one. That's the one why we lost $2.6 million
exactly
and everything
right.
else. That's
exactly right.
Yeah, the former mayor never signed it, so therefore it put us in this jammed up spot.
Okay.
But at that point, the fact that he didn't, and we didn't sell the bonds at that point, we stood some leverage there, which we didn't take any advantage of. The redeveloper just said, hey, guess what? Stick it. You're going to pay 8.5 cents. That's ludicrous. Or I would have been happy with them saying, fine, pay the 8.5. But we'll eliminate the 3% per year escrow. At the end of 15 years, we're paying 45% more than we're paying now. Who knows if that was ever going to happen? But we agreed to that.
The escalator was always in the redevelopment agreement from day one.
I understand that, but the fact that they got the financing for half, if you look at that letter, it said that we would have saved 80,000, I think it comes to $80,000 based on 4.4. The township, in essence, lost almost $200,000 a year times 15 years. We're not talking chump change here. I mean, we could hire a few more cops for that kind of money.
I think, as the mayor pointed out, if the former mayor had executed that, then maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion. But
we wouldn't be having the discussion if it wasn't politics, period. You're going to do what you're going to do.
That's not.
That's not true. Mr. Scott, as far as the agenda, wait till, when you get the agenda, if you come in early and get it, just compare it to the one that's online. Because Jen, you post it, when do you usually post that? Friday, after it's approved. Because I could pull stuff, and I won't pull it once it's posted. I'll pull it at public meeting, just so you know, and obviously won't add anything too. So, but if you pick it up early, it can change between when you come in and pick it up.
To be honest with you, Council President, this is the first time I remember this going down this way, because Jen is very good at what she does.
Oh, yes, she is.
Absolutely.
Well,
And
I talk to her constantly, and we,
And you could
stuff
ask the
gets
business
changed.
administrator. I mean, not to take people's time up, which I don't like to do, and I usually do my homework way before, right or wrong. Correct. If I have any questions, I go through the
You do.
channels.
No, you do.
You know, so.
Well, that's why Mr. Jessup was here too, because we figured you'd have some questions.
Had I known that, though, I would have been prepared in a different way. I mean, I had a lot of notes on that, but I think I got my point across. We got shafted.
Thank
the
you.
previous administration.
By previous administration, yeah, make that clear.
Council President Momo, do we have
Yes.
anyone else on the?
Is anyone else
solar, so
on
that
any
that's okay?
resolutions or concerning to the brick? Nope, seeing none, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jessup.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thorough
Thank you.
explanation, greatly appreciated. All right, we done with that? Did I do that? What are we doing? Open the public for questions. I'm going to close public on resolutions and ask for roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Abstain on 6-9 and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Abstain on 622F and rest to the, yes to the rest.
Yes.
Rest to the yes. Bill Resolution Computer 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $1,728,525.65.
I'll open to council. Anyone from council have any questions? Council Vice President?
Ms. Bergen? Sorry. Page 35, T&M Associates, it's recreation park improvements from 2011. Is that the open engineering for Angela Hibbard?
The $850.01 is, both of those are for Windward Beach, which
Okay.
they were retained to do the construction administration, so we're in project closeout at this time. The $22,000 is the design for Angela Hibbard Park.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the council? Seeing no questions, close council. I had a motion and a second.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman and second by Councilwoman Zapsik. Open to public on the bill resolution. Seeing no questions, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Abstain on New Jersey Press Media, and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Abstain on the MUA and yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes. Bill Resolution Manual 2015.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,471,998.83.
Open to the council. Any questions? No questions? A motion and a second.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fosman, second by Vice President DeYoung. Open to the public. Manual bill resolution. No questions from public. Close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Moore.
Abstain. Township payroll. Yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes. 7-1, cap rate ordinance.
Calendar year 2015 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-4514.
Thank you. Cap rate ordinance, this allows the township to exceed the 2.5 state mandated cap on budget appropriations and establishes a cap bank for future use. The ordinance allows for increase to budget appropriations and allows the township to bank any unused money. The cap bank ordinance allows the township to increase the budget appropriations by 3.5% over the prior year's appropriations and to bank any unused appropriations for the next 2 succeeding years. By having a cap bank, we have an emergency account without needing emergency appropriations to fund it. The ordinance is simply precautionary. It is not funded through a tax increase. It is funded through unused appropriations. The only time in recent years the township used this was to fund an emergency response to Superstorm Sandy. We are not generating cash. We are creating the ability to raise money should we need it. This is an act of setting aside money for specific purposes in emergency. We appropriate funds to delegate the cash needed. Had a motion and a second, please.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Moore, second by Councilwoman Pontoriero. Open to public. Sir?
How much do we have set aside right now that we've carried over from previous years? And
I'll
how much
ask-
have we used in the past?
I'll ask our
Yeah.
business administrator.
I'd have to double check those, I'm sorry. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, we only used it once, but I don't know how much it was.
Okay, I'm sure I'll get that answer.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott. Anyone else from public? Closed public. Roll call.
Councilman Moore.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lydecker.
Yes.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President DeYoung.
Yes.
President Momolo.
Yes. Public comment. Please note that persons addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 30 seconds. No comments? 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code Section 2-33B.
So funny.
Anyone from the public? I'm not seeing any hands. Wait a minute, let me get my glasses on. Ma'am, in the blue? In the blue. Thank you. Please state your name and address.
Leslie Campanelle, 118 Taylor Boulevard. I just have a quick question. There's a lot of chit-chat going around that the Kmart and Pathmark, that shopping plaza with the strip across in the same area with Brick Fitness and Nicotone's place, that people are leaving there. Kmart and Pathmark are closing down, and Finn's is leaving, and Brick Fitness is leaving, which I know Brick Fitness is. But I heard that basically kind of that shopping plaza is going to end up being vacant or in the next couple of years. Again, this is all just rumors. And then I saw in Brick Shore Beat, I think yesterday or the day before, that the trailer park, the mobile home right across from where I live in Laurelton Heights, was part of it was sold to developers, and then they might be putting retail stores up there.
It's always been owned by a developer.
Yeah, it's been developed.
Part of it might be developed for retail, I think, if I understood that correctly. So my question is if you could just provide any information on what's going on in that area. I was just thinking that there's a lot of vacant, seems like there's a lot of vacant places, and why would we be adding more shopping centers? And I don't know if any of that is accurate. So
I'm not sure on the Pathmark, on that shopping center there. I'm sure businesses move out and move back in. That's something we have no control over.
Right.
That's by the owner. As far as the mobile home park, that is owned by, that's been owned by a developer for quite a long time. And it's being addressed now. It hasn't come up on the Board of Adjustment yet, but it will probably in the next few months. Whether or not what happens with that, I couldn't tell you at this point, but there are speculations of building some more retail there. Obviously, we like to see all the empty retail spots filled before new retail, but it's difficult for us to say no to someone that comes in to build stuff that, that owns a piece of property if they're compliant with all the regulations and things of that nature. So it's all premature because we don't really have answers for any of that yet.
Well, you say it's difficult. That leads kind of to one of my other questions. I see on Facebook a lot. I don't know if it's the Brick Township that puts out the questions, but they'll put out polls asking, what do you want to be done with the Food Town area? What retailers would you like to see? I'm just wondering what is done with that information. So if you're saying that, it's hard for you to say no to that, and you don't really have control over that, then I feel like on one hand, why are we reaching out to the public to see what they want? Because I read through all those, and it seems like people don't want more retail development. They want parks and things like that.
Sure. The mayor will address that. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, sure, thank you. The Food Town site, there's never been a poll that I'm aware of by the township on the Food Town site, and it may have been, that thing was on that thing for so many years before I was on council. It's a possibility, but not that I know of. We own that site, unfortunately, so when you talk about those other two sites, at Pathmark and at Laurelton Mobile Home, we do not own those, and hopefully, I think most of the council, not all the council, agrees with me, we don't want to own more properties. So the only way to stop somebody from building something that's allowed in a certain zone is for the township to buy it and own it, and we're not doing that. At least, not under while I'm mayor, we're not going to be doing that. So those two things, whatever zone there is what can be built there. With regards to the Food Town, there hasn't been any poll, so there's no, we do is we got stuck into a redevelopment agreement before I was mayor, and that guy wanted to build. Originally, he had to build a hotel, and he could build anything else. He was, wanted to build some retail. He came in when I was on council still and wanted to do 192 condos, and we said no to that. He never came back with any other plan after that. We were able to get rid of him as of December 31st, and now we're kind of we have all different people coming to us with ideas.
Okay.
So we have people with, we reached out to Wegmans, we reached out to Trader Joe's. I went through all this. I don't know if I should go through it all again and the reasons why they can't come here. And then we have recreation type presentations. Some people want some soccer fields with a bubble. Some people want basketball courts. So all those are just presentations that they contact the mayor's office and say, we're interested in that site because it's an awesome site, and here's what we'd like to do, and we're kind of waiting to see what's great. And then there's also a lawsuit because the other guy sued us,
Right.
saying he really wants to build something. No, he hasn't for so many years.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up. Anyone else? Sir?
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. Thank you. My letter. Mayor John Ducey, Bricktown Council President Paul Momolo, and all the town council members and concerned citizens of Brick Township. Once again, I stand before you to bring attention to the plight of the tens of thousands of Brick residents, and in particular those of Evergreen Woods condominiums and those other residents that live within a few hundred yards of the Garden State Parkway. Spring has come, and now it is 2.5 years since the Garden State Parkway began harming the lives of the thousands of Brick and Ocean County residents. Before Superstorm Sandy devastated the lives of hundreds of Brick residents with its winds from one of the worst natural disasters to impact Ocean County residents, the NJTA directors and commissioners laid plans to destroy hundreds of thousands of acres of woodlands surrounding the Garden State Parkway. Under the guise of preventing a few accidents, the NJTA decided to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on widening projects that funneled millions of dollars into their friends and cohorts. Acres upon acres of woodlands were chopped down, which displaced many land animals and birds, and at the same time impacted the residents of Brick Township. The birds, squirrels, deers, and other animals that survived took up residence in the backyards of residents or in the attics or in other structures. Initially, the residents felt the impact of trucks seemingly rolling into homes and with vibrating noises that shook them from their beds, but the NJTA showed basically no concern. The devastation of the forestry of the Garden State Parkway continued unimpeded with the assistance of the county government, and the noise bellowed into the homes of thousands of residents day and night. The noise and vibration was harmful to the sleep habits of residents and domesticated animals, and seemingly would never end. Unfortunately, what was also missed was the long-term impact of the pollutants of the hundreds of thousands of vehicles dumping auto emissions and truck contaminants on the residents daily. The NJTA is proud of the fact that they were able to move 300,000 vehicles on the Parkway daily through Brick Township, and we're happy to celebrate that fact without any regard for the township or Ocean County residents. As this man-made destruction continued, the NJTA paid no concern to the residents' illnesses, the school children's increasing asthma attacks, nor did it have an impact on the air quality of residents' health in the senior villages in the area. The NJTA denies any problem associated with their environmental destruction of the landscape of the Garden State Parkway, but by their actions they acknowledged that they have harmed thousands of residents. When they put up a berm to remove some of the noise they made near mile marker 93.5 on the Parkway, they didn't do it because they were just good and neighborly people. They were acknowledging the problem they caused. Now they have set meetings with some town officials and with representatives of the management company of Evergreen Woods in order to set plans for some low-hanging vegetation. Yes, of course, this is nice, but no one can possibly believe they are doing it to be nice. They, of course, are doing it as an acknowledgement that they have created a problem that has impacted tens of thousands of Brick residents. This may make them feel good about themselves, and this appeasement is just a drop in the bucket. We all realize the millions of profits that funnel to their supporters, and this will not make up for the harm they have already done to the Brick residents, and the spending of a few $1,000s will not make up for the health loss of so many. What is needed and has been needed since NJTA began this man-made assault on the environment is a retaining wall to keep the pollutants and the noise from further harming the residents. By their actions, the NJ Turnpike Authority is acknowledging their culpability in the health issues of thousands of Brick residents, but are still trying to shortchange the township in their correction of the problem they have caused. That's my letter, and I say thanks to that. I just want to, Brick Township news today. Well, just a quick thing. It is our conviction, this is a quote from the editors, I guess. It is our conviction that the hope of America lies not in big government and the bureaucracy spawned by it, but rather by the sense of control people will experience in their lives with a renewed sense of community. and what is a sense of community, they pretty much tell you it is more than a place where people live or work. It is a place where people interact in countless and vital ways. It is a place where people raise their children, tend to their loved ones, pursue their friendships, and retire, hopefully, after a lifetime of meaningful work. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Ma'am?
Good evening. It's really nice to see a full house on this side of the wall. And,
We know, Nan, I know who you are. Name and address, please.
yes, I'm Nan Call. I live at 18 Greenbrier Boulevard.
Thank you.
In Brick. I do have a couple of things, and maybe if there's time, I can go back for one of them at least. But right now, what I want to do is to comment on the agenda as it is. It's billed as a caucus public meeting. There's no caucus about it. And I think perhaps we really need to go back to the old days where 1 week's caucus, where you discuss everything, and the next week, all you have to do is go quickly through and do a consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, it says if discussion is desired on any item, that it should be considered separately from the rest of the items. That fails to be done, and there is often questions that come up as you go through it, and it means discussion takes place. If you had the caucus meeting the week before, as we always did, it would have been thoroughly discussed. It also says under public comments that each person would have 5 minutes. Well, that's fine for public comments, which is this. However, when it comes to the doings of the township and what you are deciding upon for us, you have an obligation to fully inform us. And if that means that we have to ask you questions, it shouldn't be timed and a 5-minute limit. You have to inform us, and if it takes more than 5 minutes for you to answer what's bugging us and what we need to know. A lot of comments were made tonight about, well, that was discussed at other meetings, and it's been thoroughly discussed in every resolution, but we haven't been discussing them for a few years now, going back to the previous, and I'm going to call it regime. It's very, very disheartening. I think I'll leave it there on that subject, that we really need to have a separate caucus meeting because we're not getting the information we deserve to have as taxpayers and citizens. So that means that I can address the other matter. As I made the hook, cup handle hook, whatever, jug handle, to come in, there was an electronic sign, and it said that this is Distracted Driving Week. Well, it's been on my mind, and I've wanted to call it, not to the attention of Brick Township, wanted to call it to the attention of New Jersey, probably New York, transportation departments. One of the biggest distractions is that sign. I was in a situation where there was almost a terrible accident, goes back a year or two ago, and it was caused by the fact that people were seeing this amber alert. That catches our attention. That's important. But you can't read the details. And when you see another electronic, you look at it and the person got distracted, and there was very close to a fatal accident at the time. I myself, when I'm driving along on the Parkway and into New York, I see a sign that says something about a closure, that the Bayonne Bridge is closed, but all I've managed to see is closed. And it doesn't register that I might have to adjust my route so that I can take one where I'm not going to have to double back. So that's one of the biggest distractions, and I think you need to start bringing it up to the powers that be, which is beyond you, that they need to think about what are they doing when they do these distracted driving week sign and causing people to say, wait, was that important? So that's what I really wanted to say originally, but I'm very disgusted with the fact that we don't get the proper information because we don't have a real caucus meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Christy Winters, Director of Visitation Relief Center, 725 Manilow Road, Town Council.
Hi, Christy.
Mayor. It's good to see everybody. We haven't been down in a while. It's been a long winter, very, very long winter. You know, a lot of our homeowners had a lot of issues. We had a lot of pipes breaking, a lot of just, it was a very tough winter for the center, for the family, for the community. We wanted to bring to you guys some of our numbers from 2014 and what our current needs are right now at the center for our families and residents here in Brick Township. 2 years ago, the Visitation Relief Center opened its doors. We would like to thank all of our partners, volunteers, contributors, funders, and most of all, our families for allowing us to serve. We look forward to 2015 as we continue to help our community. Here are some of our accomplishments from 2014. 3,182 family intakes in 2014. 119,000 volunteer hours. Direct financial assistance provided in 2014, $1,176,000. 7,291 services providing, saving our community $789,000. 6,386 people assisted, and of that, 4,877 adults and 1,509 children. 287 home rebuilds were completed in 2014. 2,332 pounds of fresh vegetables harvested from our community garden here in our town. 536 tons of debris were removed. And 52 community rain barrel projects completed at the VRC to help prevent 2,971,000,000 gallons of runoff into Barnegat Bay here in Brick Township from Huck 14. 3,283 family cases were open on unmet needs, and 1,678 cases were closed on the unmet needs in our community. Bringing the total contribution into community recovery, $3,708,000. We have been very, very busy and very proud to serve our town and our surrounding communities. There are still many families in need of assistance and struggling to return home. Nonprofit direct financial assistance is currently running out, not only in our town, but also in our county. Many nonprofits are shutting down, they're closing due to lack of funding. We have residents sleeping in homes and cars with no power or running water. They had, because of the fact that they have no other means of paying for temporary housing on a period of 3 to 6 months while their homes are being lifted and being repaired. The numbers of residents in need of emotional support and mental health services is as great as it was immediately following the storm. Recently, we became aware that the New Jersey State Case Management Program applied and was awarded supplemental funding extending for the DCM services to those affected in New York. However, our New Jersey State Case Management Program is quickly coming to an end in our state. Recovery is close to being complete. Our recovery is not even close to being complete. The ending of the New Jersey State DCM program will greatly decrease the number of case management across the state due to the diminishing of original funding. We desperately request the local officials to meet with us and help us advocate to our state and federal government to apply for supplemental funding here in New Jersey as well. Now that New York has set precedents, let us not leave New Jersey without the opportunity to continue to assist our community members. So if there's by any chance that any of you guys could come, we could set up a meeting
They are
and
going
further
to,
discuss
it was
this.
discussed at Councilman Fosman's chair of the Sandy Committee. Who, Mariana, and Vice President DeYoung. So they will be in touch with you. Is there anything that you need down there, like you could mention over the people watching on TV?
Any
Supplies?
spring cleaning's coming. We definitely survive off of donations when people are doing their spring cleanings. Any household goods, any items or anything, feel free to donate them down to the center. You can
And they
drop
could-
them off at any time.
I was just going to say, that people could leave them outside if
Yes.
no one's there, right?
Very
Correct.
convenient. The only thing that we do not take is upholstered materials like couches, sofas, mattresses, anything of the sort like that.
All right, great.
All
And
right.
someone will be in touch with you. I'm sure Councilman Fosman will be in touch with you shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank
I
you.
just
Good
can't
seeing
thank you
you.
enough, Chrissy, for all your
Yeah.
work you guys doing down there.
Great job. Thank you all.
Please keep it
for
up.
coming out on all your hard work. Anyone else from the public? Sir? Oh, Mayor, would you like to say
Yes,
something?
Mr. Brill's coming up. I just want to let everybody know, and I think you do know, because I think Mr. Sluka might have mentioned it, but Ms. Bergen, she went up to the Turnpike Authority, our business administrator, Joanne, sorry. I was like Joe Polowitz. She went up to the New Jersey Turnpike Authority meeting, the last one they had, along with the residents of Evergreen Woods, and she got up and made a lot of comments, and because of that, the Turnpike Authorities agreed to have a meeting here in Brick Township with the administration as well as the representative, the Condo Association of Evergreen Woods. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. Congratulations on getting the New Jersey Turnpike Authority at least to come down here and have conversation with us with regards to the issue. So thanks. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Thank you, Mayor.
Stephen Brill, Evergreen Woods. I'm going to read the following statement from the Turnpike Authority, March 31st, 2015, approved meeting minutes. The minutes were certified as true and correct copy of the proceedings of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority regular meeting held on March 15th, 2015. They were certified by Joseph Marsak, Executive Director, and Sherry Ann Suzikowski. The following is the Turnpike Authority's edited version of a speech I delivered during the public comment portion. Stephen Brill, Evergreen Woods, Garden State Parkway, exit 91. Ms. Brill spoke regarding the construction on the Garden State Parkway near exit 91. Brill stated that a sound barrier wall between the Garden State Parkway and Evergreen Woods community is not only warranted but mandated by the Turnpike sound barrier policy. Brill stated that when the authority cut down trees on the Garden State Parkway, it had two options under the DEP's no net loss policy: plant replacement trees or pay the DEP, which would provide money to the affected communities to plant trees. The authority chose to pay DEP to satisfy the mitigation requirements. Brill indicated that replanting trees would have been less costly to the authority and resolve some of the issues that the residents are claiming. The noise pollution and increased air pollution is a detriment to the residents. Brill further stated that any future planting in this area will be only cosmetic. Brill summarized the noise as coming from unshielded northbound lane and the exhaust and mechanical noise from vehicle engines. Brill referred to the East Brunswick at exit 9 on the Turnpike. The authority found that was not eligible, that's verbatim by them, and it's not my speech, for a sound wall. But the authority permitted the Township of East Brunswick to share the cost of building a sound wall. Brill asked, since East Brunswick did not meet the requirements for a sound wall, did the Township's monetary contribution become the deciding factor to remedy the situation? Residents at exit 91, the Garden State Parkway, believe a sound barrier wall is warranted and justified, and the authority's denial of this is arbitrary and capricious. Brill again pleaded to the authority to help protect the residents by building a sound wall. That is the end of my alleged statement. That was not the speech I delivered. Major portions were edited out. For example, the quoted passage from the Turnpike Authority meeting of August 14, 2012, that stated the authority and the NJDEP have determined that reforestation adjacent to the deforested areas is not feasible. Nor is my calculation. The publicly reported number of 146 trees were removed is incorrect. Actually, based on the grant money received by Brick Township, the money needed for reforestation is 1,703 trees. Once again, the following did not appear in the minutes from the EO 215 report. Dense tree and earthen berm buffers provide noise level reduction ranging from 12 to 17 dBA. Also missing from the Turnpike Authority account was a noise study performed by Paul Carpenter regarding the Exit 91 project, which stated that a noise wall for Evergreen Woods is warranted, but which erroneously used inaccurate number of homes affected versus the wall needed, that was needed pertaining not only to the Exit 91 project, but the combination of the shoulder widening project as well. There are more discrepancies that would take more time than is allowed. If you want further proof, please ask Ms. Bergen, who was in attendance at the meeting, as to what I said. I have brought this to your attention because the mayor will meet with the Turnpike Authority shortly. I'm also concerned that based on the inaccuracies from the Turnpike Authority meeting and whether the Turnpike Authority's misreporting actually broke the law. One further note, I provided the Turnpike Authority secretary with my speech so that it could be entered into the meeting minutes verbatim. I will not read the speech now, but I have enclosed it for your review and distribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, you could hand them, you could give them to Jennifer. She'll give them all to us. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'll close public and move on to council comments. Ms. Bergen? Mayor, you don't want to say anything? Council.
Thank you. There was one issue. The one resident got up about the Kmart Shopping Center.
Yes.
You know, we definitely do not want to see that going out of business by any means. That's why we're trying to do a lot for local businesses. You know, we have the Buy and Brick program that we advertise, you know, all those businesses through our recreation brochure, our website, and Facebook pages and all that. So I just want to, you know, no doubt out there that we want Kmart and Fat Mark and everybody over there to stay open as well as everywhere else in town. And there's going to be some new initiatives about some of the empty storefronts that we're working on to try to get some businesses to get into those. Last week I had both Little League grand openings. I'm not going to touch on this again because I know a lot of the council is going to touch on it. Both Little League and Brick American, good luck to all the players out there. Then it was up in Newark for the New Jersey Mayor's Summit, so nobody's going to talk about that. But it was about after-school programs, and you know, we have a lot of sports programs, and this was given other ideas of drama things, and you know, obviously after school, like learning to help with foreign languages, things like that. So it was well worth it to go up to Newark for the day with a number of other mayors from around New Jersey. I attended the St. Dominic's School Career Day. It was 186 7th and 8th graders that gathered in the cafeteria there at St. Dominic's, and they wanted to hear what it was like in the daily life of a mayor. I did have also the Green Fair, which Councilwoman Lydecker's worked very hard on, so I'll let her take all the credit, but I did attend it, and there was a lot of vendors, and there was a lot of people there. It was a huge success. I did have a telephone call with the Wildlife Preserve and the state police, and our police took part in it. So F Cove is going to be open again this summer. If anybody was wondering, that's going to be open, and everybody be safe out there. I did have some Boy Scouts. Some of the Boy Scouts were here today for the flag. In addition, there was a couple other packs or troops. There was about 30 of them in my office last night. Any group like that wants to arrange, it's a tour of the mayor's office, and I kind of give an overview of what it's like to be mayor on a day-to-day basis, and I take all questions. So, you know, whatever questions. There was a couple questions last night about red light cameras, and it was interesting. I had a little kid, he was like 9 years old, asking, you know, how come so many people got tickets on yellows? And so, but, the township's continuing to assist the United Way of Ocean County food drive for the month of April. Non-perishable foods can be dropped. Toiletries as well are being collected. There's bins out here in the municipal building on the main and lower levels. Donations go to the local food pantries in Ocean County. And I'm happy to report that 3 full cases of food and toiletries have been picked up, and we hope to fill the bins again. We had to call them in early because there was so much out there, it was overflowing, which is a great thing to see, and great to see the whole community come together for a good cause. At the end of this week, I have the New Jersey Conference of Mayors, so I get the opportunity to meet with the various commissioners from the DEP, DOT. You know, of course, I'm going to bring up all the issues that we talk about here at the council meetings and people who call up and email me about different issues. That's all going to be addressed directly with the commissioners down there. And there's a number of other great seminars that I'm able to attend. I'm lucky enough to go down there. Upcoming events this Friday, 6 o'clock p.m., girls softball opening day. I'll see all the girls there at the Drum Point Sports Complex. Again, good luck with your whole seasons. The senior prom for residents 60 years or older is going to be held Friday, May 8th from 6 to 10 at Lake Riviera Middle School. You do have to RSVP for that and call Cindy at Recreation at 732-262-1073. I got this awesome letter from a lady down in Naples, Florida, who's actually thinking about moving to Brick once she retires, which is the opposite of what everybody else seems to do, right? They go down to Florida when they retire, but she's in Naples, she's a realtor, and her husband is already retired. She's going to be retiring soon. They're thinking about moving to Brick, so she was doing research, and the one thing she came across was a senior prom, and she's like, oh my God, Brick sounds like a wonderful place. I look forward to meeting you. She's coming up in a few weeks to take a look at houses and things like that. So the senior prom is getting nationwide publicity out there. Saturday is going to be a very busy day here in Brick Township. All right, here's what we have. Between 9 and 12, we have our first ever farmers market, which is at Windward Beach, and it's going to be every single Saturday except for 4th of July at Windward Beach between 9 and 12. And the first one's April 25th. There's a number of vendors already signed up. There supposedly is going to be a couple more before Saturday. They're being reviewed with their application. A number of local businesses right here in Brick, as well as right around the surrounding areas. Farmingdale was one, Hazlitt, I remember. So that's one thing. Also, between 9 and 12:30 is the semi-annual beach cleanup. That's taking place this Saturday at Brick Beach 3. And you start at Brick Beach 3 and you work north until the job is complete. So that's two things that are going on. From 10 to 12, back at Windward Beach, but down on the sand this time, it's the annual Rachel's Beach Cleanup. So another opportunity to help clean our beaches. And then 1 o'clock, I'm getting an excellent opportunity. I'm being able to present keys to a person who's getting back into their house. It's going to be on the Do It Yourself network eventually. And it's somebody who's been waiting for their house to be raised and redone, brand new house, and they get to move in Saturday at 1 o'clock, and I'm lucky enough to be the one to hand them the keys. So that'll be exciting. And then over 3:30 at the Brick Blue Claws, it's Brick Day. The first pitch, which I'm lucky enough to do something else, I get to throw out the first pitch, which is an honor. And 4:05 is the Blue Claws game. And then the really awesome thing about the night is at 7 o'clock, Brick Varsity plays Brick Memorial Varsity baseball game. They get to use the big field. Hopefully somebody hits one over the wall, because that would be the throw of a lifetime for that guy for the rest of his life. They get to sit in a nice dugout, use the nice locker rooms, the whole deal, which is nice for the Blue Claws to do for high school kids, because that would be an honor to be able to play down on that field. I get to go out there and hopefully throw the ball over the plate so nobody laughs at me. And thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll be there to watch you throw. Counselor?
I can't top any of that. So.
Madam Clerk?
Nothing, thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Nothing at
And by the way, Madam Clerk and Secretary, you do a great job. Thank you very much for assisting us. Councilman?
Yes, very shortly. First of all, thank you for coming out this evening. It's nice to see everybody. A township is only as good as a foundation. And with our police department, we have a solid foundation. So, Chief, on your report tonight, thank you very much for taking time out and putting that together. Very nice. Thank you very much. To our high school teams, to girls bowling team, keep us on the map. Keep going. It's nice. And the uniforms are cool, by the way. I like those shirts that they had on. So keep it up. To our wrestlers, again, fantastic job. Way to keep us on the map. And to Alex Donovan, way to stand out. Make yourself proud. He'll never forget that moment. And so thank you very much. Please drive safely out there. Keep in mind our two-wheel friends, our motorcycles out there. It's warm. Just keep it.
Maybe.
No, it's getting warm. I'm done with the snow. Trust me, I'm done with the frozen pipes and all that goodies. So let's keep an extra eye out there for our motorcycles. Drive careful, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Council President. I would like to also thank the Boy Scouts for coming out tonight, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Congratulate the girls, Brick Township High School girls bowling team once again, and the Brick Memorial High School wrestling team, and Alex Donovan. I want to thank the chief for his presentation. It was very thorough, and I also want to thank everyone in your department, the men and women who serve, that provide the essential services for our township, for doing such a great job, and under your leadership for bringing down the overtime costs. It's no small feat to be able to meet the demands of nearly 80,000 residents from a public safety standpoint, and to still be able to bring things in, to do it efficiently. The recreation brochure is out. It's absolutely beautiful. I encourage everyone to pick up a copy. Features our award-winning playground at Windward Beach on the cover. There's a lot of fun and exciting things going on, and about half of the cost of printing this was paid for by the ads that are inside, which is it made it very affordable to print an attractive recreation brochure that lasts for the entire year. The Cultural Arts Series is underway this weekend and next weekend. Guild Theater Works will be doing the Noel Coward play Blythe Spirit comedy at the Bob Anstett Cultural Arts Center. It's Friday night and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. That's this Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and then next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's a very small venue, probably only about 60 seats. So you do need to call for a reservation, 262-1006. It's just a voicemail, but leave your name and return phone call, return phone number, and how many seats that you need, and someone will call you back to confirm the reservation. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman?
Thank you. Not to rehash everything, but thank you to the chief for coming in this evening. Your budget presentations are always very concise and easy to understand. It may be 7 pages long, but when you're done reading it, you understand your whole budget and what's going on and where the tax dollars are going. I do want to say good job to the Recreation Committee this year and last year. You've really put us back on schedule with getting these parks done, keeping it at budget or under budget. And I'm really happy to pass the resolution for the park we did on this agenda, because it's been a troubled park that has had many issues, and to get it back up and running for that section of our community, I think will be a great thing for them, and it'll really raise their quality of life on that side of town to have that done. We heard from Christy Winters this evening from Visitation Relief Center. She's no stranger to us. She's been here many, many times. And they are kicking into gear their spring drive, where they're looking for clothing, like children's spring clothing, summer clothing, shoes, things like that. Of course, any monetary donation you make is fantastic. And spring cleaning supplies. I remember going down there last year with a trunk full of paper towels, because she had given me a call saying, look, make the plea to council, we need some cleaning supplies. And they were gone before I even left. That's how many people there are there on the weekends and on a daily basis still needing help. Joanne, thank you for getting that meeting set up with the Turnpike Authority. The residents may not be included, but at least their voice will be heard with you and the mayor and their association there. So hopefully that will give them some hope, knowing that we are here for you. There's been comments made in the past that maybe we're not trying as hard as we can, but I think that if this is the only town they're coming to talk about this, good job. Things are moving in the right direction, and we are doing what we can. The farmers market, something I am so excited about, because the one in Toms River is held in the middle of the week during the day. Like, who can get there? So it's so fantastic, seriously. It's so fantastic to have one on a Saturday in our local community with local vendors that we can support their business, and they can help support our healthy eating habits and whatever you choose to buy while you're there. You have to come out, because if you don't come out, it won't be successful, and we can't continue these type of programs. They're new, they're seed programs, so we need everyone's community involvement, even if you just come and walk around to see what's going on. Thank you to the mayor for meeting with our Cub Scout troop last night. Their questions were some hardball questions. It was like talking to a group of adults, and they all, every single one of them, had something to say. And it was great to see them here tonight. It was their first time out doing something like this, so they are a little discombobulated. But they are so adorable in their little uniforms and kerchiefs. Last but not least, this Saturday we had our 5th annual Green Fair, and I am on that committee. I've been on it for the last 3.5 years. Something very near and dear to me, and it's been the biggest one we've had yet, even bigger than the first year where we had a lot of support from the Chamber of Commerce. We had over 40 different vendors and exhibitors. Thank you to all the local community groups that came out. We even had some of the tree saplings that were given to us for Sandy replanting. That went over very well. Huge kudos to the entire green team. The MUA, they helped a lot with all of that. And we have, we don't have secretaries any longer. At our committees, the last few years we had the pleasure of Debbie Murphy sitting in with us and helping us. This year we had another township employee, and he did an outstanding job. He got us vendors that we tried for years to get and were unsuccessful. He really coordinated everything with the schools and DPW to get the whole room set up and broken down. So I do want to say thank you to Keith. Hopefully you'll hear this. Thank you so much for the good job, and everyone that was involved and participated, and everyone that came out, because that, it means that we're getting bigger and better, and we can do a better job year after year. And I think everyone left there really happy and with a little more information than they walked in with. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman?
Thank you, Council President. Councilwoman Lydecker, they don't wear kerchiefs, they wear neckerchiefs.
I don't know. They're ties.
Kerchiefs. The brownies wear kerchiefs. I'd like to thank the Cub Scout Pack 38 for leading us in a salute to the flag. Great job there. Congratulations to the Student of the Month. And congratulations to the Brick Township High School girls bowling team and the Brick Memorial High School wrestling team for an outstanding year and achieving so much. And congratulations for an outstanding performance by Alec Donovan, who went 39-1 to win the 4th district title and regain his championship. And thank you, Chief, for your budget presentation. A little information on Public Works, the leaf collection. There's 2 more collections left. So if your recycling day is Friday, please put them out for Monday, April 27th. And if your collection day is on Monday, your recycling day is on Monday, put it out for May 4th. Or you can bring it down to the Township Recycling Center on Ridge Road or the Ocean County Recycling Center on New Hampshire Avenue in Lakewood. If you need more information, you can call 732-451-4060. And I believe it's on Twitter, too. Am I correct, Mayor? Or Heather, no? The leaf collection,
Twitter?
Yeah. Commercial recycling. Letters are complete, and the mailing is in the process. Code officials will visit these sites to ensure proper procedure is followed. There are ongoing discussions of Public Work about using an in-house crew to do some paving projects in town, which will be of substantial savings. This is something I was talking about back in 2012, and hopefully this will come to fruition. Also, we had a new committee. It's the Flood Mitigation Committee Planning Committee meeting that was held on April 15th. This committee will examine Brick's vulnerability to the flood hazard, create more detailed flood hazard analysts, add new mitigation actions, etc., and that'll be that it can continue to lower its flood risk. That's what that committee will be doing. I also went to Drum Point Sports Complex and the Brick American baseball fields for opening day, along with the mayor and other council members. It brought back a lot of memories to me because I used to coach there, and I used to coach with, he's no longer with us, Al Wilson, Pete Benninger. That was back in a day when we first moved down here. We had a great time, and congratulations to Councilwoman Lydecker for the Sustainable Brick Committee, and all who participated in the very successful Green Fair held in the Brick High School this past Saturday. My wife and I enjoyed all the exhibits. We had a great time over there, and thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you. I want to say thank you to the Cub Scouts who came out tonight and lead our salute. I thought that anything that involves the children coming and getting them involved with the government is just so crucial. So we had a lot of kids come out tonight. We're still reaping the benefits of Sue Lydecker's idea to start honoring Students of the Month. we're still seeing how that puts a little light in their eyes and light in the parents' eyes, and I think it's so important to recognize the good things that kids do. I also want to congratulate the bowling team and the wrestling team, as well as Alec Donovan. Amazing work that they've done, and it's a credit to their coaches as well, and the parents who encourage them to practice and schlep them all around the places they have to go. I'm appreciating that more and more as my kids get older. I also wanted to take the time to thank Chief Berkowitz. I don't think that our town would find an area to cut that is more important than our police department. So when Chief Berkowitz and Joanne Bergen sat down to try to make some adjustments, this was exceedingly difficult. I will tell you that the quarters that our policemen and women work in are in need of substantial renovations, is putting it kindly and mildly. Yet they still found room to cut where they could cut the fat. So I am thoroughly impressed by the budget that was proposed, and I wholly support all the work that our department is doing, and under your leadership, including what you didn't say tonight was the Lead and Seed program that you're also involved with. Chief Berkowitz is involved with, and our officers and lieutenants are involved with many community activities that benefit our children, and I want the public to understand and acknowledge that these guys are doing above and beyond, and even donating time. So whenever there's overtime mentioned, I cringe, and now I know that it's in the budget, it's worked in, and with our addition of the special police officers, and it's all coming together. What I was most impressed with was the 1/3 less burglary. That is a fabulous statistic for our town, when we have been told by various sources that burglaries that are occurring now are more likely than not drug-related offenses, people stealing so that they could buy drugs. So a decrease in the amount of burglaries hopefully means a decrease in the amount of drug users that we have in our area, which is important to change the culture of Brick, and so that we can have the next generation not have the same difficulties. But again, thank you for a wonderful budget. I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who gave their prayers and devotions to my little niece, Domenica Nicole. She did pass away, and she is with God. My family can't thank you enough for all of your prayers, and I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for all of the cards, well wishes, flowers, kind words. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am to be part of such a wonderful community such as Brick. We're not just a town, we are a community. And that's, I think, one of the big things that we have to remember and keep coming together over and over. Her Facebook page, Domenica's Facebook page, reached over 60,000 people throughout the United States. So I think she accomplished her mission on this earth to touch people. So thank you again, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Vice President.
I'd love to say, as thank everybody, but I don't think my voice can handle it tonight, and I'd rather not have.
Could you speak up? I can't hear you.
Yes, I'd rather not have a coffee fit. So I defer my council comments for this evening.
Are you done? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you all. I'd like to thank the Cub Scouts for coming out, leading us Pledge of Allegiance. Students of the Month, great, Councilwoman Lydecker started. It's a great program. The students are all happy. Wrestlers from Brick Memorial High School, the girls bowling team. We had a busy evening tonight, but it's all good stuff, which is great. Thank you, Chief, for your great presentation. And I didn't even have to say, you have to stay for the meeting, because you're always here at every meeting. So I appreciate that. Councilwoman Lydecker to Green Fair, I was there with my granddaughter, had a great time. She was, I don't know, we got all different things. She bought all kinds of stuff, so it was good. Visitation Relief Center was out, thanks. Good seeing them again. Sandy was back in 2012, but a lot of people are still suffering from that and will probably be suffering for years from it. It was a very devastating thing to the community, and we're all affected by it. So if anybody could help out in any way, that's great. Drop it off at the Visitation Relief. Contractors in town, I was supposed to talk about this briefly last meeting, and I didn't. The contractors are telling people that it's the township's fault a lot of times with permits being, you have to do your due diligence and contact the building department and find out where your permit is at. It doesn't hurt to call. People will be assigned to your job, as we explained, but it's good to follow up. A lot of the contractors are putting the blame on us, and it's really not us. It's their faults or whatever it may be. They're getting very busy now, so it's going to be a project for them to schedule everything. So just keep on top of that. The next meeting is Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, so everyone should dress in the Mexican garb for that meeting at 7 p.m. I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.